10 years ago, Telltale had a vastly different identity than they have now. Rather than milking the Walking Dead formula dry, going bankrupt, and breaking national labor laws, they were seen as something of an underdog hero, saving the adventure game genre from the brink of extinction and codifying the episodic release format. They had a lot of these initial projects. Back to the Future, Monkey Island, Homestar Runner, a surprising amount of Texas Hold'em simulators. But the cornerstone of their identity was always Sam and Max. An identity that they built off of actually delivering on LucasArts' failed promises of a sequel to the 1993 classic, Sam and Max Hit the Road. Telltale would grow alongside the lovable freelance police duo, arguably integrating them into their identity and the public consciousness more than they ever were with LucasArts. Sam and Max's identities were built off of madcap antics that fit the loose logic of the adventure game format perfectly, and using their carelessly destructive tone to sell episodic releases, buyers eager for their new collection of jokes and puzzles every month that only ramped up in absurdity and scope.
What do you think's on the other side, Sam?
Oh, I don't know. Probably some horrible alternate dimension ruled by incomprehensibly horrific ancient gods seeking to bring chaos to this plane. You want to jump in?
You can read my mind, Sam!
God, I hope not.
Well, it fit the genre and formula perfectly, and left Telltale's audience hungry for more. They'd go on to release 3 seasons or 16 episodes of the pair's antics. And while there's some ups and downs, and I don't think the writing ever quite reaches the lofty standards set by Hit the Road.
Well, that was a pleasantly understated credit sequence.
I enjoyed the cheesy retro ambiance.
What the hell are you talking about, Max?
The games sometimes play with the format in a way that's truly unique and innovative for a genre long presumed dead and buried. The most creative of these ventures, and my favorite in the series, is an episode from the finale of the series, The Devil's Playhouse. Season 3, Episode 2, The Tomb of Sammun-Mak. The Devil's Playhouse opens every episode with an ominous, Rod Serling-esque narrator to set the scene and remind you what happened in the previous episode. And a lot, I mean a lot, happens in the penal zone.
Last time on Sammun-Mak.
I could probably empty out this cash register and no one would know.
God would know, Sam.
You're right, Max, and he won't stop pestering me about the $20 he loaned me.
But you really only need to know one thing. They found a box of mysterious artifacts that give Max psychic powers, which led them to 2 skeletons oddly resembling our heroes. Looking around the room, Sam finds a projector, showcasing tales of their great-grandfathers, Samuth and Maximus. But this is no ordinary projector. By touching it, Sam and Max are able to psychically link with their ancestors. Not communicating with them, but shifting some of their detective skills over. And so, the first gimmick of this episode is established. You're not playing as Sam and Max, but as their legally distinct great-grandfathers, already creating a great hook to match the established mystery, and allowing for the lightest differences in characterization and gags in order to hit players with the unexpected.
You pollute the sacred relics of the mole people.
Oh, lay off! Go on, burrow back where you came from.
Yeah, go chew on an earthworm, you friggin' undergrounder. Ha, I curse you.
Ooh, I'm quaking in me little elfin booties.
Why can't we all get along, Samith?
Because most of us are little buddy.
Knowing nothing about their situation, the players thrust right into the action as a crazed Kris Kringle desperately wants the Devil's toy box Samuth and Maximus had just discovered. The very same toy box that Sam and Max would acquire decades later. Like Max, Maximus can use the toys inside for various puzzle-solving antics, though his set is different, including an almighty ventriloquist dummy and an even more impressive can of nuts. And after solving a quick puzzle, Kris Kringle then shoots the duo dead with a revolver.
Ho, 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 ho!
Huh. Well, that's unsatisfying. It turns out there are not 1, but 4 reels of the astral projector, each showcasing a different act impact in the story. Sam invites you to pick any old one, roll opening credits. You might not realize it yet, but this is what's truly unique about this chapter. It consists of 4 time periods that you play through in a non-linear order, using information from each to slowly piece together the mystery, bit by bit. And as you amass each piece of the puzzle, the characters in the film do too, changing the fate of the reels. The showdown might have ended in bloody failure before, but after learning that the ancient hieroglyphics read snake, snake, squeagle, squeagle, bird, this door unlocks and allows the Great Grand Gang to escape Santa's 6-shooter. There's a part where you'll be transformed into Egyptian carvings for all of eternity, unless you understand their rich and nuanced humor about cutting cucumbers the wrong way. And in a favorite of mine, near the end of the adventure, Samus and Maximus learn that a baby Amelia Earhart zonks out instantly to Ride of the Valkyries. Rewind to the start of the adventure, and suddenly Sam and Maximus just have the option to serenade her with it, singing it off key for no particular reason, while they're at risk of getting kicked off the train. Most series would need some sort of justification as to how these characters learned information from the future, or some handwave explanation of divine inspiration. But Sam and Max don't quite break the fourth wall so much as they freely pass through it. But it's intangible, dummy. Their sheer irreverence for comedic and narrative format just lets them use the player as another prop in their adventures, and the player foolish and careless enough to join them is in on the wild ride.
Tell you what, Polly, we might be willing to work out a trade. Give us your toy idea. If it's really a winner like you say, we'll let you have the can. No fuss.
Point-and-click adventure games.
You gotta be kidding.
Plus, it just lets the freelance police have a lot of fun with this format. Sam and Max will commonly make snide interjections about what's going on. There's cute little title cards near the start of each reel. The first reel takes place on a turn-of-the-century street corner, eerily similar to the street corner players have seen countless times before in previous episodes. There's even an entire Murder on the Orient Express style mystery, just sitting there as 1/4 of the episode, with the player needing to keep track of what toys of power they've actually found in the reels, as each one gained opens up new solutions to old puzzles. And that's not even discussing the clever bad luck puzzle, the vampire elf, the part where you transform Maximus into a cow, milk him, and then feed that milk to Santa. There's a lot to unpack here, mechanically and emotionally. But all of it's fun, all of it's crazy, and all of it makes sense in context. Just trust me on that one. But there is one reel left untouched by the others: the big reward. As this is a mystery, the big reward is something of a quiz of what's happened, reminding you of all the absurdity that brought you here, and allowing you to make all of the pieces click together in what could be as close to a boss fight in the adventure game genre as possible. Your reward for your reel-spanning, time-twisting hard work? Well, turns out the guy who sent you on your quest to begin with wanted to summon the elder god Yog-Sothoth, was using you to do his dirty work for him and retrieve the chest, and now plans to use you as sacrifices to the Dark Lord to allow his tendrils of madness to envelop this reality. I hate to see it happen. But one clever use of an ancient comic strip, 2 cookies, and a magical ventriloquist dummy later, you managed to trap him in the Devil's Toy Box. Roll credits. The Tomb of Sammun-Mak is not the funniest episode in the series. The next episode, They Stole Max's Brain, features a noir parody in the first act that might actually be perfect.
Actually, I think it was more of a boom, really.
You say the lights went out? That light was joy. And it's getting snuffed out all over the city, dragging us all into a sea of blackness.
Can we go? You're grimified for really bringing us down.
And we're in a doomsday cult.
No, keep talking.
It's not the first time that jumping through areas non-linearly has been used for puzzles either. 1991's Time Quest has you collecting items through time to use in puzzles. The interplay between past and future is part of what got Chrono Trigger and Ocarina of Time so much acclaim. Putt-Putt travels through time exists. And the same structure is used on a meta level in chapters of Apollo Justice and Higurashi. But no other game is so freeform, so loose with its understanding of time, owed entirely to how little it's concerned with temporal shenanigans. Sam and Max just do what they do best. Take a high concept, beat the crap out of it, and make it say funny things for all it's worth, before shoving its bruised and bleeding carcass into a game for players to solve and enjoy. It's not so much a parody or a deconstruction of the genre as it is just toying with it, celebrating and mocking the limitations in equal measure, and it's all the better and more distinct for it. It's not a tone that work in every game, but in the flippant stylings of Sam and Max, well, it pays to keep the structure a little loose and chaotic. It pays to design for irreverence.
Well, that took longer than expected.
We can't track him without his homing beacon, sir. This will require some traditional detective work.
Reckless and irrational detective work, too?
Cause that's all we know.
I'm not leaving until the background stops moving. Any ideas on the case, cops?
We're sorry, we haven't been paying attention.
Funny thing, that toy chest we swiped from you?
Somebody swiped it from us.
Well, easy come, easy go.
Can we inspect your trunk?
No.
Christ, that rat's bank account must have more zeros than Donald Trump's alimony checks.
Think this is significant?
It's selectable, isn't it?
It's a big pile of low-tech audio-video equipment, tossed out like pianos from a falling Zeppelin.
And it's still warm. Documentary filmmakers must be lurking nearby.
What sort of fiend sends an army of half-naked, staggeringly handsome samurais out into the city to steal toys?
A kinky, bizarro Santa Claus?
How'd you get out of Skunk Ape's ship?
I'm glad you asked. My incredible adventure began when I discovered a small crack in the back of my
On
cell.
second thought, never mind. Hey, good idea! Maybe we can turn this horrific siege into some sort of half-assed, rhythm-based minigame.
I hope you guys are being careful. I hear there's a particularly nasty virus going around.